It tends to be the case during moments of scapegoating. We hear a lot of talk about national security threat. And I think it's important to talk about that and to dismantle that argument and to show it for the straw man argument that it really is. There are a lot of problems with refugee resettlement. It can always be strengthened and improved to better serve the needs of the people who are going through this very lengthy and arduous process. But that being said, despite all of its difficulties, we know that it works. The U.S. has had a long history of resettling refugees in the country. It is the most stringent form of entry into the United States. There's no other way of entering the U.S. in which you are subjected to more background checks. And I think it's important to say that not because we want refugees to be subjected to this, but because it really exposes the arguments the proponents put forward for the fallacy that it really is. I think that since then, the tone of the dialogue has changed a little bit and has become more favorable. But these types of conversations really harm our discourse. So at the end of the day, we're kind of back where we started. We haven't settled more or less refugees. There hasn't been a tangible impact that's really affected how we're reaching out to Syrian refugees. But what we have seen is that xenophobia, nativism, the type of hateful rhetoric that really is divisive and harms our national discourse takes root. And I think that's why we're so quick to mobilize against these types of proposals and why we find it so important to hold the line in fighting back and saying that these are not representative of our values and that indeed we want our country to be welcoming. The vast majority of Americans, when you talk to them, they support bringing refugees into their homes. There are church groups and faith groups all around the country that are really invested in doing this type of community work and welcoming people. And I think that as we move forward, those are the types of conversations we want to promote and to see more of in our discourse.